Okay, we're going to continue. We're going to continue the meeting. Anybody that has not finished eating, please continue to eat. Don't let us interrupt you. But we got a couple of speakers here that we'd like to offer them the opportunity to have a few words. We're going to wind up with Rusty Grills, our state representative, and Peter Holquist, the field rep for Senator Marsha Blackburn. The last I heard, Ed got tied up into special council session meetings or something in Nashville. He sends his regrets, but we'll get him. He ain't out of this thing, so he got to come see us. But anyway, our next thing right here. First off, I want to let y'all know that this meal has been provided by our, you may not want me to say this, but our state representative is sponsored just almost the entire price of this meal, and I'd like to appreciate that, what Rusty Grill has done. Okay, on our guest list, we still have two prominent people to speak, and it will start with Rusty, and I'd just like to say a few things about it on my behalf and what I know of it before he gets up here. And I hope I don't have any of these facts wrong, but I've been doing some checking anyway. I think I'm close. But anyway, he's a farmer. He's married to his wife's name is Christy. They have 2 children. But we got a very active state representative here. I'm very proud of him. Rusty has always returned the call if I ask him, and that means to me that's 50% of the job. And I know his battery stays low with his cell phone all the time because he's on it. So I appreciate him going the extra mile to call me back on things. If I didn't think it's important, I wouldn't call him, and he thinks it's important, so he returned it. But in his activities at Nashville, I've seen here, and these probably have changed, but Rusty has been very active. He's sponsored 21 bills. He's co-sponsored 72 bills. He's got, at least as I know of, 53 resolutions. And one thing that he'll tell you, I think, that he and I talk about quite frequently, it's a real issue with me is gun laws and the right to carry your Second Amendment rights. Rusty has sponsored and passed House Bill 0578 and House Bill 1044. In the state of Tennessee, you can thank him and others. You no longer have to have a permit to own your own constitution. You don't have to buy your constitutional rights back. And it's because of people like Rusty. To me, he's my firewall. Rusty is a firewall between me and those loons out there that's trying to take my constitutional rights away, and I really appreciate what he's done. So at this point, I'd like to let Rusty come up and make a few comments, talk as long as you want.
When he gets through speaking, and Peter gets through speaking, then we're going to turn it back over. If anybody's got any questions, comments, or concerns with these individuals, we're going to let him talk or answer as long as he wants to.
Do I have to stand behind this thing, or can I move a little bit?
I'd say move wherever you want to.
Okay, good. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for the people we put together. I've been involved in Republican politics for a little while now, and this is the largest crowd I've ever seen in any one meeting when nothing spectacular was going on. I mean, it's not like you had the governor coming in or anything like that. So kudos to you and the efforts that y'all put forward to get this many people out. Now, I know when you have a pretty good supper, it's real easy to show up too, and that makes thank y'all for that. So I'll give yourself a hand for the effort that y'all put. I want to say a couple of things about, he's talking about some of the bills. In the House, we're only allowed to sponsor 15 bills a year. So we don't have 2 million bills we have to deal with. And the reason I was able to have a few extra bills, I had went and found some friends that did not sponsor 15 bills and got them to sponsor bills for me. Then they would sponsor bills and they'd sign them back over. So, yeah, the Senate, they can file as many bills as they want. We're only allowed to file 15. So that's one of those little things that keeps us from having to be there year round. But I also want to just thank y'all for the support that y'all given me. I've been doing this now for 4 years and a week. And it's been You know, it's been you know, when you buy something, you go home with it and you're like, man, I paid too much for that. Or I get home and, man, did I really need that? Not one time I've ever got home or been in Nashville and I'm like, you know, my wife and girls are home and I'm like, man, I don't know why I'm doing this. I have not had one day of buyer's remorse. I have enjoyed it thoroughly from the beginning. And I think the reason that is maybe, you know, God orchestrates things. And, you know, as a family growing up, my mom and dad were pretty conservative, to put it mildly. Some people might even call them extremists in the culture we have nowadays. And we were down at, I believe it was at Blue Bank, I'm not sure, but it was one of the farm meals that we were talking about a while ago, Mr. Dove. And there was a conversation that was taking place with another county commissioner in Dyer County. And he had just voted to raise our property taxes again. I mean, that may be a sore subject here. Had voted to raise our property taxes. Voted to raise our property taxes, and I told him, I said, Mr. Allen, if you vote to raise our property taxes again, I'm going to run against you next time. It was like 06, 08 range. And he said, well, best thing if you do is just pick up a petition and run next time. And I just never thought, I was a shy guy, I didn't like talking, didn't like standing in front of people. My wife, first time I met her, I wouldn't even talk to her. She's too pretty to talk to me. That was just me. That was just not me. But in 2010, I picked up a petition and ran. And I ran and won, and I served on the county commission for 10 years.
Did you raise the tax?
Never one time. Not one time, Tony. I've never voted. That's a fair question, though. It's a fair question. But I did that, and then in 2019 or 2018, Governor Lee was running. I mean, all those people running. You had Marsha Blackburn running for Senate. You had Diane Black, Randy Boyd, Speaker Harwell. All those people running for governor. Well, I looked at everybody that was running, and I said, who is the most conservative person running? And at that time, I thought Governor Lee. At that time, Bill Lee, who was like 1.5 in the polls. But he was the most conservative because I wanted the most conservative Christian, those type things. I just kind of said, all right, I'm going to support him. He winds up winning. And then he and I had a pretty good relationship. I go to the governor's house, and we're taking pictures when it's like the 4th of July, a little get together. I pick the governor up, and I'm holding him like this. Well, this picture got put on social media, and you're holding the governor like this, and nobody, Secret Service, and everybody thought our troopers are coming to stop you. Well, that thing just goes crazy on social media. And then I just got numerous calls. Like, are you fixing to run for something? No, I don't think so. I got call after call after call. And a guy by the name of John Dillinger is a friend of mine. He's a pastor in Arkansas. I called him on a Wednesday night, and I said, John, I have had so many calls over the past 3 or 4 weeks asking me if I was going to run for something. Bill Sanderson's already said he was running again because I was at the announcement in June. Said, so he's running again. Ed Jackson would be running for Senate, and that'd be 2022 at the earliest. So I said, we got 3 years to pray about it, and if the Lord would have me to do something, to run for something, I'd like to, you just pray about it. You're in Arkansas, you don't know what's going on over here, but just just pray that God would open the door if he'd have me to do that. But he would make it so clear, now listen to me, and make it so clear that it's like I got a text message on my phone or an email in my inbox. That was only Wednesday night. The next Tuesday, I pulled into Jersey Mike's in Jackson to get some lunch. I turned right there in front of it, and my phone dinged. I can tell you right where I was. And I picked up my phone and looked at it, and it was Brandon Dodds texted me and said, Bill Sanderson is resigning tomorrow. Are you running? I promise you, on the King James Bible, 1611 edition. That's what happened. And I say all that to say, you never know what God may do with you now to put you in a position where you can do something later. And I'm not saying I've done the best job. There's been lots of things I've failed at. But I promise you this, God puts things in people's lives to direct them in certain ways. And if you'll put yourself in a position where God can use you, he can use you. And, I've never been in a political campaign like this. I hate talking in front of folks. You get involved and then you win and you get thrown into it. I didn't have any training. When you get to Nashville, they usually do like a tutorial for all the freshmen. And it was like a John Wayne swimming lesson. Here, have fun. And that's what it was. But it was one of the most rewarding things in my life. And I feel like that was because maybe that's what God wanted us to do. Each and every one of us have those opportunities. But so often I feel like we don't capitalize on it. And I just want to encourage you, whenever God puts something in your path, and you may think, man, this is tough. What am I going through this for? I feel like I'm just getting beat up, I'm getting beat down. Maybe he's trying to knock a rough edge off of you so he can use you for something later on. And I don't know how long those 5 stones stayed in that brook before David picked them up. But I guarantee you, when they went in there, they probably were pretty rough on each edge. They probably had sharp edges and could not be used until they rubbed against each other and they became smooth. And then one day David needed 5 stones to be used to take out Goliath. He reached down and picked up 5. And maybe you're going through lots of troubles, you may be going through lots of headaches. Maybe God just wants to make you one of those 5 smooth stones. Now, I'm here, I serve as the chairman of the Agriculture and Natural Resources Subcommittee. I'm heavily involved in the Transportation Committee. Civil Justice is a committee that I serve on, and we get to deal with lots of fun stuff like guns, the definitions of what biology always said was a man and a woman. We dealt with that last year. We're dealing with some stuff that's, in Tennessee, we're on the cutting edge of what the left sees as a threat. They despise the Bible Belt because we don't look at humanism as the final answer. We look at God as our standard and the Bible as our standard. And the left hates that because they cannot define what God said. And in Tennessee, we're doing our best. Now, we have problems? Yes. There's the things we wish we could do a better job at? Absolutely. But when you start talking to people across the nation, Stuart Adams is the Speaker of the Senate in Utah. With his own mouth told me, he said, if my family wasn't here, I'd love to move to Tennessee because y'all have so much low taxes, lowest tax state in the nation. We've got freedom. When people were shutting their stores down because of COVID, because they're terrified, Tennessee was, we still shut down too much in my opinion, but we were open way longer and we opened up quicker than any other state in the nation. We've got so much to be grateful for. And if you want to know where, and you want to say, well, all these other social issues that the left says, well, you're going to run people off, you're going to run businesses off. Number 1 drop off for U-Haul. You know where it is? It's in Tennessee. That's not because people are running from us. That's because we have something to offer. And I'm proud that I'm from here. Now, there's obviously things that we need to do better. We need to do a better job. But I'm proud to be from Tennessee. I'm proud of the pro-family. I'm proud of the pro-growth. I'm proud of the low taxes. I'm proud of the pro-freedom. And honestly, I'm just proud that I don't live in a democratically controlled state. I talk about a lot of different things, but I really had rather, and if y'all want to know anything about me, Brother Doug said it, my wife and I, we've been married almost 18 years. Christy is her name's Christy. Hadley is my oldest. She's 12, fixed to be 13 in January. And then 10. Then my youngest is a redhead, and she's 10. They're what gets me up and keeps me going. I got a mom and dad, and we live there in New Bern on a family farm with my brothers. My mom and dad, Jack and Ann, are really close to us. Brother Mickey knows my family very well. He worked there number of years. Yes, sir. Brother Mickey used to preach in Dyersburg at 5 o'clock, and I would go listen to him preach at 5, and I'd go over to my church about 6. And you preached the book of Ruth back in about 2002, and I went over there and went through that when you were preaching. But anyhow, I can sit here and talk about stuff that don't matter to y'all, and I think it does. I'd rather answer a few questions, and then I'll sit down and hang around as long as y'all want. But and if you don't have questions, I'll sit down and let Peter talk.
Anybody got anything? Feel free to open up.
If you got, there is nothing off limits. All right, I'll sit down. Yes, sir. Tony, we're talking about. I've heard that a few times. We thought what we do is just gravel it. It'd be better. I know. They're supposed to redo it next year, but I have heard they're supposed to do some of that. But
we heard that last year, didn't we?
I've heard that a few times. They were supposed to do to Highway 22 from Union City.
Try to get away from that gravel and state highway.
I think they realized that was a failure. But the problem is on that traffic count, They look at traffic count, and they look at traffic count, how many people, they don't look at what's going up and down it, they look at the amount of vehicles. And when a trailer truck is holding 88,000 pounds,
Hey,
80, well, you get 10% lenient, and I promise you, everybody uses that.
Not him.
They don't, it's not fair, but that's what it is because of traffic count, and they're looking at dollars about how they can maximize dollars. And if you look at what the rock, like when you build a road in Middle Tennessee, you scratch back and you find rock. You build a road in West Tennessee, you scratch back and you find more topsoil. And you scratch back and you find more topsoil. And then the water table is what? 4, 5, 6 feet in some places?
2 feet.
And when the water table goes up, it's squishy. So they've got to do a better job of the, when I say squishy, you know what I mean. They got to do a better job of putting those foundations in those, especially like right down here, on this side of the bridge, right there by the joint.
Oh, man.
It's you know what, they fixed that, they blacktopped over it in what, 8 to 10 months?
Didn't take that long.
It was quick. And they are aware of that.
I would say if you ignore too, they did the same.
But that's where they put the tar and chill.
The last 3 or 4 miles.
Yeah. And so, is there anything else? Mallory and Mallory has always been one of those girls that you're terrified of. And is that right, Cliff?
There you go.
No, but Mallory's always been a big help to me because as soon as something's going on down here that needed, she would call me. She called my assistant last week on Veterans Day. She has his cell phone number, and he was at home and he took care of her problem or.
She answered the phone with spirit.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to put something off on Mallory, but you know she's a public servant too. So if y'all can't, if you need something and you don't want to call me, call her.
My cell phone is fine.
It is available, but I do want to thank Mayor there. You got to be appropriate now. You got to be appropriate.
Go ahead there.
No, I'm just gonna say, we have a friend of the family, he's a dear friend of my daughter, Kim and Rick Goodman. They homeschooled their kids, and their best friend was a gentleman named Hunter Grills, and he encouraged us to vote for that sorry dog. He said he was a pretty good fellow.
Yeah.
It's a great family. Jack has been a super friend to me, and I'm just proud of you, Robert.
Well, thank you for that, and I appreciate it from my mom and dad and my brother and all. I do come from a good family, and I was a beneficiary of that because you know when you go out somewhere and you have somebody come up, me and my dad we're close. When you have somebody come up and brag on your mom or your dad, I mean, what do you say except thank you? And it's very humbling. And I've never had anybody come up and beat up my mom or beat up my dad as far as like criticize them and things. And I'm very grateful for that. And when but I'm happy to see that you're doing so well too, because it wasn't long ago you weren't. The health wasn't great, but look at you now. You got more energy than Energizer Bunny. Yeah, but thank you for the efforts you put forth.
Miss Ann is his mother, and she and the First Lady were planting flowers up there at Ellington Hall about 3 years ago. And I thought, what a blessing, a lady that had cancer was planting with, well, I guess both of them had cancer, didn't they? That's the First Lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, they were up there planting flowers.
She's doing well now. Really is. Yeah.
Trustee, are you pro public education?
I am pro parental choice. But I'm not. I'm pro whatever a parent wants to do for their child.
How about for the state funding?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. We have to do that. It's required. Constitution.
I'm talking about, are you for public education? Are you for funding private schools?
Like, what do you? Where?
So many people are going private schools and take away from public schools.
No, I am 100% on board with funding every public school to its full potential. But if a parent decides they want to take their child and put it in a private school, I believe that parent should have the right to send that kid to a private school.
But we don't have to pay for it, do we?
Well, if that child, I don't believe that money should be determined. I do not believe that children should be funding mechanisms. and you're fearful that if a child doesn't go to this school, that they're somehow not gonna get money? Is the only thing that we're focused on is that school having money or that kid getting education?
I disagree with you.
Okay.
I think what he's saying is true choice, and if you choose to,
Yeah.
and which I agree, I think the money ought to go with it.
I think, so if I take my child,
What are you gonna do, take it away from public schools that are, well, like Lake County right now is suffering?
yeah,
For,
Teach your kids.
so,
probably next year or so, our high school is not gonna have over 180.
so if, I have a child that goes to Lake County High School,
Right.
and he's going to Lake County as a freshman, and then, as a senior, I say, I'm not gonna take it there any longer. I'm sorry, as a sophomore. That money that child was taking to that school because it went to that school, no longer goes to that school. And if,
They call it ADA money, it's average daily attendance money.
that's correct. So, I don't, so are you suggesting that child should be required to go to that school so that school can get money?
No, I'm not saying required to, but I don't think we should fund private schools.
Well, if they go to another school somewhere else, they're not gonna get that money
If I take my kid to Dyersburg,
The money,
Christian school,
yeah,
I pay for it out of my pocket.
That's right.
It doesn't get state funded, it doesn't get state funded.
That's right.
it doesn't.
Vouchers, isn't that your biggest issue?
Yeah, there was a problem they had in Memphis when, you were probably more likely to get mugged in Memphis than be able to read at grade level. And that's no joke. I mean, Memphis is such a disaster, and they took some kids and, took them out of failing schools and gave them education savings accounts to allow them to go to private schools, and those kids become much more successful almost instantaneously. And I don't think because we want to make sure that a school gets funded, that the children should have to suffer. But remember, if you send a kid to Lake County, and then those dollars follow that kid, and you take that kid out of Lake County school, and then you take them to Dyer County, Lake County no longer gets that money. Dyer County gets that money.
But
So-
I'm not talking about public, I'm talking about private.
And that's why if you go to the private school, that money should follow up to the private.
I'm a fan, but now, I'm a fan of parents deciding where their kids go to school. And at the end of the day, that money that you pay in taxes, that child has designated to anything by the Department of Education, should go to with that child. And wherever that parent says, this is the best education source for my kids. It's like this, do you think that, because, all right, you live in West Tennessee, all right, every kid has to go, if they want to go to college, they have to go to Dyersburg State Community College. But you believe in school choice then, because school choice says if my child wants to go to, if I want to send my kid to Union or I want to send my kid to Ole Miss, I can do that, and I can get a scholarship to do that.
But you got to pay out of state.
Okay, but what if I want to send my kid to Union or Freed Hardeman, and then you get in-state tuition? Every child goes to school for free to college in Tennessee.
So you're in favor of the voucher system?
Not the voucher system. I don't know what the voucher system would actually be considered.
Well,
Are you, like a scholarship program?
the voucher system, several people in the state,
We don't have that.
yeah, but they tried to 30 years ago, and some people couldn't get.
What he's done. Go ahead, Macy, I'm
I'm,
about time. I'm just kidding, Macy, you know that.
do what?
No, I'm just saying the charter school system works quite well in the areas that they have it. And I do believe the money should follow. If you're in a school system and your kids can't read at grade level, matter of fact, they can't read 2 grades below where they're at, they can't do math at the grade level they're at, and you can put them in a charter school or a parochial school. Of course, if you go to parochial school, I think the money should fall on there too. But I do believe that you should have the right to put your child where they're gonna get the best education. And if the public schools are failing our children, I think the government should cut the money out of them. One way of doing that is letting the money follow the kid.
I agree that the money should be attached to the kid.
Exactly.
And the kid should never be forced to go to a school that fails.
Right.
And that's the reason parents that are involved should have the choice of sending their kid where they feel like they can get the best education.
But the people like we have in Lake County, or, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very frank with what I'm saying.
That's fine.
Okay, they brought, instead of raising it the people that's moved in here has brought the level down instead of raising. You understand what I'm
I
saying?
understand.
Dumbing the students down is what you're saying?
Sure.
We've done our whole country.
No.
And the teachers can't, you know, they can't raise them because they.
I would suggest that every parent should take every opportunity they can to make sure their child's in the best school possible, whatever at their fingertips. And we may just disagree on that, but,
We agree on that, but I'm not for voucher, I'm not paying to go to a private school. Dyer County or, one of the other counties, fine.
and I don't know where we would get the private schools though if we had a robust voucher system. Where's a private school around here that, we don't have enough private school infrastructure to actually meet the needs if we were to take, in your scenario, if we were to take every kid out of Lake County, where would you send them? Because there's not a private school around here large enough to even handle that.
Memphis was a big.
If it was tax money was with it, you might have one.
Well, that may be the case, but that's not the way it is now.
Well, I will have to say, most of them here, I got my education right here in Lake County High School. I think I got some very good education. And, I got 3 grandkids in the high school right now, and I think they're doing real well. I don't have a problem with that school system.
I think some of the problem that we're seeing is just some of the parental guidance that they have at home.
You're right. You're right.
You know, if you.
Starts at home.
Richard?
The kids down, like you go and take a state board test for the prison up there, back years ago, you made an 80, you passed. Then I dropped it down now, for 70, I think, they passed to 70, they passed.
Maybe 60.
If you walk in the door, you can get in. And it's easy for a nurse. That sounds like who wants to stay and tell them, okay, let's lower these test grades down so we can get more out here? Do you want somebody to work on human body that's not making at least 86 hours versus somebody that's making a 70? Well, we got a president.
And you know, here's the thing, this is such a touchy subject though, because, and like, we used to have debates about things. You know, used to have what is it, the book, it was like, the late 1700s, the Catechisms of the Constitution. I believe it's 17, maybe 1800s. And they would go back and forth and debate why America did certain things. You know, and the public education system back in the 1620s, way before the founding of our country, actually, the Declaration of Independence and all that, the Pilgrims wanted to make sure that every community that had 50 people had a teacher. If you had a community of 50 people, 50 families, you had to have a teacher. If you had 100 families, you had to have a schoolhouse. And why was that? So that the children could read, and they would be able to read the Bible is ultimately what it was about. Because in the homeland, they didn't have those freedoms. And those Pilgrims saw that there was something different, and they wanted to make sure that their kids had something different. And now what we've done is we've gone to the point about who's in control. And it's all about money, 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 money. Who's in control? Who's in control? More money. Rather than, are our kids smarter because of the activities and the actions that we have taken, or are they dumber? And if we know that we can get a better grade with a certain way, why would we not do that if we were the parent? And that's where I am. But you know what it all goes back to? If I were the parent. Somebody brought it up. When you have 70% of a population that are being born into a home where there's no daddy, it's automatic failure. And we have a population out there, y'all, that's the way it is. It's statistics. You can't deny it.
I think I saw a thing on the news the other day that the city of Shelby County schools, the entire county, the 4th grade, they had no school that could pass the 4th grade level in Shelby County.
And I'll tell you another thing. I don't know how much money Lake County spends per student, but I think Dyer County was about $8,000 to $9,000 per student back when I was on the county commission. Shelby County spending about $15,000 per student. Who gets a better education? Money does not fix every problem. That's the point. Shelby County is tanking. Any other questions not necessarily about education?
I've changed the subject.
No, I'm not scared of it at all, but it is a touchy subject. Okay.
Did someone else say they wanted to change the subject and talk about anything else? If not, I'd like to say something else before I let Peter come up and talk. I think we owe it to Ed to at least kind of briefly describe who he is. If you don't know him, I've met Ed. Not as, I haven't talked to him as much as I have with State Representative Grills. But anyway, if you don't know Ed, I just want to tell you that he's married also. He's got 3 children. He's a member of the Church of Christ. He's also a member of the National Guard. Where am I at here? Let me get all this right. And I'm going to tell you about his voting record. He's sponsored, let's see. But he's been very active too. I'm going to give him a little credit here, what's going on. But anyway, he had several sponsors and co-sponsored bills and stuff like that. So Ed's a good guy too. But we will get him here. His time will come. He won't get to escape this. But anyway, say that about Ed Jackson, Senator Jackson. Now the Marsha Blackburn's bill rep is here, and I'd like to. I just met him tonight, so I can't honestly say I know a lot about you, but it's been a pleasure to meet you so far. But Marsha has done some things that has caught my eye. You know, here recently she's working hand over fist trying to get the Epstein Island, the flight records going into that island and stuff, and I'm sure she's running into every roadblock and resistance that they possibly can do. But I admire her for trying to dig into that and find out who visited and who frequented that island. So that means a whole lot to me. And there was one other thing she was doing. She's getting ready to run for re-election next week, and I just wanted to let people know here that, you know, we had this little uprising in the state legislature this past session, where we had 3 people, you know, more or less instigated and shut down the House. You know, if you want to call something insurrection, I think they've classified for it. But guess what? One of the women, the woman that was participating in that, she's running against Marsha Blackburn. I think we need to send that woman a strong sign when this election rolls around. We don't need people like that. We need to support Marsha on this. She's got her battles and stuff, but those are 2 things to me that highlights the issues that I like about Marsha Blackburn. She may not be perfect, but those 2 things, out the gate, she gets a lot of respect from me. So now I'd like to introduce to you her field rep. And I think he'll do well. His name's Peter Holquist, and I'll now allow him to speak.
So I'm going to start off just saying thank you for showing up here tonight. I went to a breakfast for the governor during his campaign in Jackson, and about the same amount of people showed up for that. So it was, 6 a.m. on a, Thursday morning, but, it's great to see the Republican Party showing up. It's great to see the people of Lake County show up, especially when it's your first meeting for the GOP. Second, we have these signs here. If you want to hold one up and do an endorsement video for Senator Blackburn, that would be wonderful, and we can do that after this. Mayor Cook, who's in the back there, filmed one, I believe last week, and earlier in the year, Rusty Grills filmed one as well, so you can join the ranks with that. But kind of with that said, I got my start in Tennessee politics with the campaign for Ed Jackson. It was the first time I came to Lake County, and I showed up on election day at about 2 in the morning to put out signs at the polling place just outside. And it was, of all the polling places I was able to go to, there was so much stuff already there. For most of the polling places, no one else had put anything out. But this county decided that they cared so much about their elections that they wanted to have people, when they went to vote, that they could see even some of the candidates who were running. And I think that is something that's very great, because that way people are making an educated vote. And that's why I'm here today. As you've heard, Senator Blackburn is running against some pretty crazy people. In fact, we recently had someone from Fayette County, a school board member, jump in the race because she saw that Gloria Johnson was in the race and thought, okay, if a crazy person can run for the Democratic seat, I can as well. And, you know, Senator Blackburn, she's going out there and she's asking the questions that the American people know the answer to, but apparently the modern Democratic Party and their policies do not want to answer the basic questions. Senator Blackburn is fighting right now to get the flight logs from Jeffrey Epstein so that the American people can know what happened and what politicians, what celebrities, people who are influencing and making political moves. They want to know, the American people deserve to know that. Senator Blackburn is fighting so the American people can see who was on the plane that went to this island of a major donor for the Democratic Party. But the FBI and the current administration is trying to cover that up. Senator Blackburn, she also asked a now sitting member of the Supreme Court a very basic question. What is a woman? And she refused to answer that question. And it wasn't because necessarily that she didn't know what a woman was. It's because there is such a fight to make sure that we have such a vague description of what a woman is, so that people have to look at a man in a skirt and say, yeah, sure, that's a woman. I'll concede that. Senator Blackburn's going out there and saying, no, I'm not going to concede basic truth, scientific truth, biological truth, biblical truth. We have a massive problem at our border right now. And it's not just that people are coming through. And, you know, the Biden administration, they're saying that our border is secure. It's not. We have people flooding through. We have the largest human trafficking operation in world history happening at our southern border. We have an administration that's allowing it. We also have a terrible drug trade. Fentanyl is affecting every single county in Tennessee. It's affecting every single state here in our union. But when you have people dying at extreme rates from a drug that is being mixed in with marijuana or mixed in with pills that are shaped like candy, that's something that we can't just turn our back to. In 2021, which we have the numbers for drug overdoses, 71% of drug overdoses in the state of Tennessee, fatal drug overdoses, had fentanyl involved. That's 3,000 people. We have a candidate right now who will tell you that the number one killer of people 18 to 24 is guns. It's not, it's fentanyl. Fentanyl is coming across our border. It's made in China. It goes into Mexico and it comes across our border and it kills Americans. And it gets them addicted. And it's these pills. That's what is the most dangerous part. Because they don't mix it well. I don't know what mixing fentanyl well would be. I'm not a pharmacist nor an illegal pharmacist. But someone can take a handful of these pills, hand them out, and 3 of them will have a pill with pills of fentanyl, and then 2 of them will have the ones that are fatal. It just takes the tip of a pen, like this. That little felt tip right there, that's enough to kill someone. And it's flooding across our border. They had a bust in Massachusetts that had enough fentanyl to kill every single person in the state of Tennessee. And no one seems to really care, except for people like Marsha Blackburn. Now, how many people filled up their car in the last week or so? You see the price of gasoline. Senator Blackburn is going to unleash American energy, or fight to unleash American energy, so that when you go to fill your car, it's like it was back when Donald Trump was the president of the United States, and you could fill up your car with gas, drive for a bit, fill it up again, and it still would cost half the amount that you're paying today. She's also trying to stop the spending that we have in DC. Because inflation is starting to really kill the American people. If you can't afford groceries, you can't live. And she knows that. People are getting poorer and poorer because they're not making as much money as they have to spend on housing, on groceries, on gas, on their electric bill. And, with this money that's being spent, it's being spent on woke policies like funding abortion by getting rid of the Hatch Act, so that the taxpayer of Tennessee will have to fund an abortion, possibly in the state of Ohio. And it's also going to help, these companies. We keep bailing out different companies, and a lot of these companies are very woke. We haven't bailed out Target yet, but Target will pay their employees to travel out of state if they're in a state that doesn't allow abortion. They'll allow them to travel out of state to get an abortion. And the Biden administration wants that to be at a federal level, where our military will fund people to go get abortions. And that's just pure evil. That's one of the worst of the woke policies, because it's taxpayer-funded evil. Senator Blackburn is also standing against evil in other areas. I recently graduated college. I spend a lot of time with friends who are still in college. And in colleges right now, you're seeing a push for Hamas, a terrorist organization. Students are now supporting openly terrorism in our country. After the October 7th attack, Senator Blackburn immediately stated that, again, something she stated a lot, and that is that she is on the side of Israel, and that she wants to keep us in a position where we will be fighting for, not with our soldiers, but with resources that we can give to them, which we know Israel pays us back. And we're going to fight so that, for Israel, for the democracy that's in the Middle East, the sole democracy in the Middle East. But with that, we're also in a county that is majority farmland. And I mentioned earlier that people will go to their local grocery store to get their groceries. In my generation, sadly, you ask people where food comes from, they're going to say it comes from Kroger. But really it comes from a lot of people in this room. It comes from counties like Lake County, where we have farmers who are going out and putting food on the plates of the American people. And with that, a lot of people, I think it was Hillary Clinton that said that she thought farmers were stupid. And I remember hearing that and just being astounded that we had someone who, probably sent an assistant out to go get her food at the grocery store. So she didn't know where food really came from even. She couldn't even say it came from the grocery store, I don't think. But she would call our farmers stupid. well, a couple counties away is UT Martin, which has some of the smartest farmers teaching our next smartest farmers to do amazing new things with production of food. It's the only university I've gone to where, you know, you get on the campus and you look out, it's like, oh, there's cows. And I love that because it shows that, you know, right there, our farmers are not stupid, but you have politicians who are not willing to travel to the smaller counties, like Weakley County or especially Lake County. That's the reason why when I heard that there was going to be a GOP meeting today, my first thought was I need to be there because I want to meet the people of Lake County. And I came out here and I'm seeing all these, you know, wonderful people. I'm meeting all these wonderful people who truly care about the county, who truly care about democracy. We do have a fight for our republic right now. The people on MSNBC will say that democracy is at stake. I think our republic, our constitutional representative republic is at stake. They'll say that there are people out there who are threats to democracy because of their beliefs politically. And I gotta tell you, one of them right now is sitting in this room. It's Rusty Grills. He is a threat to democracy according to MSNBC because he's a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is there's a lot more people like him in this room who have strong beliefs that our Constitution must be upheld. I believe that. And honestly, everyone who's here believes that. And that's why we need to go out, we need to vote for people like Marsha Blackburn, we need to vote for people like Rusty Grills, and we need to vote, well, you don't have a state senate election coming up this next year, but, you know, vote for your mayors, your school board members, your city council members who will uphold the Constitution in the state, who will uphold the Constitution of the United States, because our elected officials, they take an oath of office to the Constitution, to say they'll support our Constitution. Today they're not doing that. But people like Senator Blackburn, she does that. She's fighting so that we can support our veterans. She's fighting so that we can have our government not infringe the Second Amendment, which is part of our Constitution, saying that it shall not be infringed. And, you know, I can tell you that Marsha Blackburn isn't one of those people who, when it comes to guns, will go out there and, you know, say, oh, I support guns, but has never picked up a gun. I heard a story of a time that she went to a shooting range, and I'll tell you, from what I've heard, she is a remarkable marksman. Someone who we should have out there protecting our Second Amendment because she knows how to handle a gun. So she's not just doing it to make a political point. I'll now open up for questions.
Anybody got anything? Well, Peter, you did a good job. Very broad, lots of topics.
Earlier in the day, or yesterday or today, I can't remember, I talked with our county mayor. The county mayor prepared me to hear a person that is well educated and versed on what Marsha Blackburn believes. And our county mayor said, I think Peter being our go-to, we'll have a person that you don't have to hesitate to call and we get a reply from. Our mayor spoke highly of you, and I see why he did. I appreciate you being here, and what you've said makes a lot of sense. All right, we're about at the end of the program, but I cannot let this program close without thanking some people. And the people that have put this on, other than our state representative. I'm going to start off with Bill and Linda Volker. These folks right here. I told some people earlier, you got doers and you got talkers. For the last 3 days, they have probably put 8 hours a day in preparing this place, preparing tile, cleaning, vacuuming, and they've gone way out of their way. I had a brother, I had to go out of state for a little while on kind of an emergency. But when I came back, I was thrilled and shocked on how much improvement they've made on this building. They worked extremely hard on it, and it's very noteworthy, and I appreciate you. Our treasurer, Ronnie Hayes, helped us with his sound system, and he's been very helpful. I'm glad he's part of the board. And we also had some other people that weren't board members, but like Donna Moore and the Mayor Don Moore have spent a lot of time down here. And we had another thing that's happened. Liz Callens prepared the desserts. During her entrance in tonight, good to see you back there, Park Ranger. In her entrance coming in here tonight, she tripped out of here and broke her shoulder. She's on her way now. She went to Dyersburg, and she's on her way to Paducah. So I would ask for prayers for her and hope she fully recovers. She's such a nice woman. She's done so much to help us preparing some of these things. And Karen Pascal and Betty Prince, and then Buck Buchanan. Who else am I leaving out? But anyway, it took a group of folks that, there's Alicia. Alicia did well too. That's Jolie's employee, works at the cafe. She did a fantastic job. But without all the help, there's no way. I would have had to call this thing off if it hadn't been for these folks here. But I'd like to give them a round of applause before we dismiss. Okay, this will conclude the meeting. I hope it was good, and I hope y'all proud you came. We'll have another one, and I'm looking forward to it. Maybe next time Senator Jackson will be here. And I've got some people in my mind that I'm going to call that I've got little contacts with that we might have a surprise or two. But sometime in the near future, we're going to, I think, as a group, of course, we'll vote on it and decide. And John's got a whole lot more expertise on this than I have. Maybe we can come to some kind of consensus, and we're small in number, but you got to start somewhere, and maybe get in behind some of these folks and endorse them, and when the time's right, because we're a red state, there's no doubt about it, but we can't let your guard down and let these people start getting a little momentum, get closer and closer, and then they get to thinking something bad, like they might actually be able to get elected. So we got to stick with what is most closest to our principles. And, but anyway, I'm glad to see each and every one of y'all out here. I appreciate it. I'm very pleased with the turnout. And sometime in the next few weeks or months, we'll have another one. It may be here, or it may be with Ronnie up at the Armory building. So we're going to try to juggle this thing around where Tiptonville folks more, might feel more comfortable to go. But it's a county thing, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I look forward to the next meeting.
Mason.
Appreciate you coming. Enjoy.